everyone, my name is Ruth Shannon. I am back to talk to you about punctuation a little bit more. So this is our second presentation about punctuation. This one goes beyond commas to look at punctuation marks such as colons, semicolons, and quotation marks. As I said in the first lesson, punctuation in English is a mix of hard rules and stylistic choices, which can make it very tricky. So let's take a look at some of these rules and choices that you are likely to encounter in your own writing. Okay, so please pause the video, look at these three sentences, and decide which of them is punctuated correctly. Please keep in mind that it might be more than one that is correct. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the use of colons and lists. So here's our three sentences. The last one is the correct one. The reason is that we have an independent clause followed by a list. And that is exactly where we use a colon, is after the independent clause and before the items in the list. We don't use a comma there, and we do not use a semicolon. A colon is the correct punctuation to use in this scenario. Note that we have commas in between the items of the list. If you have very long list items that are more complicated and maybe have embedded clauses within them, this one, for example, you can separate them with semicolons. So in the first sentence we have here, it's a very simple list with three simple items, or actually four simple items, and it's perfectly fine to use the comma. There's no confusion there. But in the second one, if we just used commas, it would be very difficult to tell what the items in the list were. So the semicolon provides a little bit of extra separation among the list items. Okay, once again, please pause the video, decide which one or more of these sentences is punctuated correctly. Okay, so what we're looking at here is how to separate independent clauses. As we discussed in the first punctuation lesson, we do not use a comma to separate these. This last one is incorrect because it separates two independent clauses with a comma. This is called a comma splice, and it is always wrong. Your options instead are to use a semicolon, as in the first sentence, or to use a period and start a new sentence. Essentially, make your one sentence into two sentences. Okay, once again, pause the video, decide which sentence is punctuated correctly. Okay, it may take a minute to realize which punctuation mark we're looking at here. The concern here is how to punctuate quotations. So the rule here is that if you don't have a citation for your quotation, then periods go inside the quotation marks. If they have a citation, then the period has to go outside both the quotation mark and the citation. So the middle one is wrong because the period is outside of the quotation marks and there's no citation. The first one and the third one are both correct. So now you know how to punctuate quotations at the end of your sentence. The question is, how do you punctuate them in the middle of your sentence? So if you have a quotation followed by a comma, the rule is the same as for periods. If you do not have a citation, put the comma inside the quotation marks. If you do have a citation, put it outside both the quotation mark and the citation. If you have a colon, a dash, or a semicolon after your quotation, then they always go outside the quotation marks, as in these three examples. If you have a quotation that you need to add or subtract or change information in, here's how you can do it. You can use these square brackets. So in the first sentence, we have used the square brackets to change the word form to make the sentence make sense. In the second one, we have excerpted information from the quotation, and so we put this ... It's called an ellipse inside the square brackets to show that you have removed information from the quotation. In the last sentence, you have changed a letter in the sentence to a capital letter so that you can put the quotation at the beginning of your sentence, and it is correct. So any change or addition or subtraction that you make from a quotation as it's written in your source should be used with square brackets so your reader knows that you've made a change. Once again, please pause the video and decide which of these three sentences is punctuated correctly. Okay, for these sentences, we're looking at how to punctuate non-essential information in the sentence. So information that's nice to know, extra information that you'd like your reader to have, but not necessarily essential for knowing what you mean in the sentence. In fact, all three of these sentences are correct as they are written. These are three different options for how to punctuate this kind of non-essential information. You can use paired commas, you can use 2 dashes, or you can use parentheses. All of them are perfectly fine. Everybody has different ideas about the stylistic effects of these three. Many people think that the dashes put more emphasis on the non-essential information and makes it stand out more from the rest of the sentence. So it depends on how much emphasis you want to put on that non-essential information. So please pause the video and once again decide which of these three sentences is correct. So all of these three sentences are neither correct nor incorrect. These are perfectly fine the way they have used these three punctuation marks. The first one is called an ampersand. It means and. In the second one, there's a slash. And in the third one, there's an exclamation point. The issue here is register, which means how formal or informal your text is. If you're writing an academic text, then try to avoid symbols like these and abbreviations. If you are bothering to write a long, beautiful, polished academic text, you might as well take the time to write the word and. In the case of the third sentence, the exclamation point just makes the sentence sound a little bit too dramatic. It's possible that there are places in your text where you will want that kind of drama, but it's unlikely that this is something that will come up, and you should certainly try to be sparing with your exclamation points if you use them at all. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your attention. I hope you feel confident using punctuation marks of all sorts in your writing, and best of luck with your writing in the future.